The dice hate my bombers. They just do. You're not alone. My bombers, almost all of my bombers get shot down at some point. And I made the damn game. And I've gone into the office and I'd be like, you show me right now how this is statistically possible because all of my bombers got shot down.
Welcome to Board Game Nation. My name is Gary Blevins. Thank you so much for watching. I recently had the opportunity to have an exclusive interview with the CEO of Beamdog, Mr. Trent Oster. Beamdog is responsible for the creation of Axis and Allies 1942 Online that's currently available through Steam. Now, we were thrilled to be the first to announce that this great online game would be available for the iPad through the Apple Store in August 2021. Now, during that interview, available here, we talked about the DICE, AI developments, and the future of the franchise. Here's a section from the complete interview where we took a deep dive into one of the hottest topics surrounding the game, the DICE. As you saw from the opening clip, Trent has quite a bit of passion about this topic. You are definitely going to want to hear what he has to say. Let's make it hot. I wonder if you can talk to us about the evolution of the random number generators that Beamdog has used in the past and what options are going to be available to the players in that area.
I think, first off, random numbers are random. And by their very nature, that's kind of what makes the game fun. Now, our random number generator implementation, we've gone through a number of different ideas and concepts on how to do it. But fundamentally, we roll a big range of numbers and then we crush it down into a D6 representation. This allows us to have a bigger variety of potential rolls, and we've done the statistical analysis on it. The likelihood of a 1 is the exact same as the likelihood of a 6, which is exact same as the likelihood of a 3. It's statistically flat, the graph. So every time we've gone through and we've revalidated the rolls, it always comes back as this statistical average that every dice roll is equally likely. And we found that in online games, it still holds true. They all average out to the same values. It all comes back to a mean roll. So along those lines, we developed the concept of, well, what if we took and built like a version of the dice that was a little more balanced or a little more biased? We call it stabilized. So stabilized dice fundamentally they generate that same range, and then they crush it down. They reduce the likelihood of a 1, they reduce the likelihood of a 6, slightly reduce the likelihood of a 2, and slightly reduce the likelihood of a 5. So you kind of get that sweet spot where you expect. It's almost like taking 3 dice, rolling them, and then averaging them together. It's going to bias towards the middle by kind of reducing the likelihood of that outliers hitting. So that's a good way to reduce kind of the randomness, but it doesn't get rid of it. And then the third option is low luck dice. So low luck dice basically says, okay, if I add up the attacks of everything I've got here, I've got a number. Say it's 20. Okay, 20 divided by 6. Okay, 18 left over is 2. So I've got 3 hits because I take 18 divided by 6. Then I've got 2 left over. I'll roll 1 dice against the 2. If it's a 1 or a 2, it's a hit. If it's any higher, it's a miss. So it really allows us to kind of crush it down and make the game play a lot more kind of strategic and predictable going forward. So low luck really kind of crushes that random statistics as far down as we can without discarding kind of the nature of the game. So the unbridled raw dice, that's your Wild West. There's going to be fun, there's swings. Sometimes you'll roll great, sometimes you'll roll horrible. And for some reason, it always gets me when I'm doing bomber raids. The dice hate my bombers. They just do. You're not alone. My bombers, almost all of my bombers get shot down at some point. And I made the damn game. And I've gone into the office and I'd be like, you show me right now how this is statistically possible because all of my bombers got shot down. And the programmer there would be like, okay. Let's look through the game. Let's analyze everything out. Here's the rolls that happened. You just got unlucky. And I was like, damn, my bombers, always my bombers. So we had a lot of fun playing the game back and forth, and we've gone through and we've looked at that number generator many times from different angles. We came up with biased dice to kind of crush that down, and ultimately low luck dice as kind of that final option to really crunch that into a zone. But I think what we've really seen is the expert players in their strategy, account for the wild swings of the dice. They understand the fickle nature of luck and how it can interfere with the best laid plans. And there's plan A and there's plan B and plan C and plan D. And if you get down to plan D, it means that luck is definitely not going your way. Whereas I think less experienced players, they kind of have that plan in their mind. It's the singular thing that has to happen. And when it doesn't, they get flustered by that. And as a result, those negative dice swings just feel that much more painful.
I think you're absolutely right. And just like in actual war, luck is always a factor. The odds of losing 3 bombers during a strategic bombing raid is 212 to 1, which is pretty low, but it's not zero. There's always a chance. And that chance is one of the things that makes this game fun. If I want to play a game with full information and no luck, I'll go play chess. Now, I love chess, but it's a different game, right?
Yep. We always wind up crafting stories around like the heroic Russian defender, that single infantry unit that just keeps hitting. Everybody's attacking him and he's chewing down the Germans. You're just laughing about it because there's like one solo infantryman and he takes down like 4 tanks and an infantry. And I made a name for him. I called him Sergei, and then I'm bugging everybody about it. Joe, you don't want to attack me, man. Sergei will take you down.
See, now there's something that's interesting to me. You see the same thing happens when you play in the tabletop version. Now, I think that everyone seems to forget that. Now, I've got a buddy that I love playing with live, like on tabletops. We were in a game, and we were the Allies, and he was playing the U.S., and he attacked the Japanese Navy with what we thought was going to be overwhelming force. But he rolled, and he couldn't hit a thing. And the guy playing Japan had the roll of his life. The U.S. lost there's like 140 IPCs worth of material, and I think Japan lost like 8 or something ridiculous. And for the rest of the game, we wouldn't let him shoot. We made him call his wife and have her shoot for him. He wasn't allowed to play. But people seem to forget all that when they get into the online world.
I think a big part of that comes down to agency and blame. When you throw the dice, they came from your hand. There's no one else to blame. When the computer rolls the dice behind the scenes, you didn't actually do the act of rolling the dice. Somewhere in a computer, somewhere on the internet, there was a random number was generated. And I think it's just the fact that it's removed that little bit from you that makes it feel wrong to you. If I could give you a dice peripheral that you could roll at your desk and witness the numbers that you rolled and feed that into the game, I would love that, because instantly you would stop blaming the random number generator.
Well, there are dice now that will connect to Wi-Fi. Now that would be interesting. I wonder, well, that might be worth a phone call.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think we've all been there. And
whatever mean things anybody wants to say to the dev team, I've already said it. I've already said it 100-fold.
Right. Save the comments.
I've jumped up from my desk and stormed across the office and just, what kind of bullshit is this?
Well, I'm glad to know that we're not alone.
I have been there myself.
A big thank you to Trent Oster for joining me and the entire Beamdog team for working with us to bring you this interview. Make sure that you check out Axis & Allies 1942 online, available now through Steam and on the iPad starting in August 2021. Looking for more from that interview? Here you go. Need more on Axis & Allies rules and strategies? Right this way. For our latest bit of mayhem, here's your link. And if you're ready to join Board Game Nation, click here to subscribe. My name is Gary Blevins. This is Board Game Nation. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.